What is going on, guys and girls? My name is James and welcome back today to Roblox. How are we doing, everyone? Welcome back, welcome back. Today, once again, we are jumping back into the Bee Swarm test realm because late last night, Onett has dropped a bunch of new stuff, which includes all, I think, of the brand new planters that we have seen over the past couple of weeks. So yeah, this one is actually kind of crazy. Like, we mentioned how the planters are going to be a big part of not only this update, but the future of Bee Swarm, and I wasn't quite expecting there to be so much information and detail put into these items. So today we're going to take a look. I'm going to talk you guys through them. I've got loads of cool stuff to show you guys. Let's do the old Bee Swarm shuffle. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. And, oh, you stole my hive! Curse you. Who is this? King Hung 10. Oh, dude. All right, never mind. 3, 2, 1. Claim the test hive. Oh, Supreme. Yeah, okay. Fantastic. Yeah, how is everyone doing? Welcome back. Hopefully you guys and girls are doing awesome. We approach ever closer to the Beesmas update. It is getting there. It is getting worked on. Every single day we have something cool and new to check out. It won't be long, lads. It's going to drop. And when it drops, it's going to drop hot. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one is going to be an interesting one. I've been doing a bit of reading about these planters just beforehand, and they're insane. They're absolutely mad. I was not expecting there to be so many planters and also like have so many details about them. It's a really cool item. But yeah, just very quickly, I just went and checked the likes on the previous episode, and we hit 5K, which is amazing. I think we set a 4,000 like goal on that one, and we managed 5,100 when I checked it, which is amazing. So thank you so very much once again for coming and hanging out. It's going to be, as I said, like an amazing couple of months here with so much Bee Swarm content on the channel. So yeah, you're always welcome to come and hang out. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. I'm going to do my best to make some cool videos, and it's nice to see that people are enjoying them. So can we try and go for another 5,000? No, 4,000. Can we try and go for another 4,000? That would be awesome. Thank you so much. Right. So test realm. We're going to go and grab the planters in a second. Very quickly before we do, though. Okay. So I'm going to want to come and check these last time. So in case you missed the previous episode, basically the test realm was completely reset. So all of that madness is now gone. However, we did still get like all of the bees back, most of the levels back. And essentially what Onett is doing now is he is testing all the different colors, all the different new equipment, all the different new bees, and seeing, you know, and balancing as it goes along. So when these things load up, we'll actually see the progress on how things are doing right now. But I believe last time we saw it, it was actually really even, which is super surprising. However, this is what we're looking at today. This beautiful yellow square. Whew, 3, 2, 1, and boom. Okay, there we go. We have a lot of planters. A lot of planters. Oh, geez. So when these planters first came out, I was kind of expecting there to maybe be like one, to be honest with you. When it first came out, I was like, oh, it's going to be a planter. It's going to be a small thing. It's going to give us a buff. We can just put it in a field and we can get some boosts. Fantastic. But no, Onett had much bigger plans for these planters. And if we scroll down here into our list, look at these. We have the paper planter, the plastic planter, the candy planter, the red clay planter, blue clay planter, tacky planter, pesticide planter, heat-treated planter, hydroponic planter, petal planter, and the planter of plenty. And you know what? Even the planter of plenty is not the last planter. There's going to be plenty more planters, maybe giving us plenty. Wow. Yeah, this isn't even it. Like, there's going to be more. So, I really don't know how is best to do this. As you can see, like, this is way more than I was expecting. And essentially, each one of these planters will do something different. So, we're going to try and talk through them in this episode. And I'm going to try and, you know, read what it says there and also give you some extra information from Onett, because it's a little bit of a learning curve to learn how these work. That's a lot of planters. Right, so I think maybe the easiest way to kind of like, sort of... There's a meteor storm, lads. Take cover! Right, let's try that again. So, yeah, basically, like, this is very much a generalization, but I think it might be kind of useful. So basically, there are so many of these planters right now, and from what I've got, like, information-wise, there's probably going to be a couple more of them as well. So think about these planters a little bit it's a bit of a stretch, but think of them a little bit like Beequips. So although there are loads and loads of different types of planters, much like there are loads of types of Beequips, you can only actually use a certain amount of them at any given time. So just a couple of bits of information here. On it says that basically, there will be a place where you can store the pots. That was the plan, unless I run out of time. And you can only keep up to 3 in your inventory at a time. So your inventory is not in the main game going to look like this, where there's just like 10 different planters just like taking up like a huge list here in your inventory. There's hopefully going to be a place similar to the Beequip box where you can actually store your planters when you are not using them. He also goes on to say here that you can only have up to 3 planters active at a time. So I thought that was kind of interesting, actually, because I thought we were only ever going to get like 1 or 2 or something like that, you know? And we would just move it to the different fields, and then depending on what we wanted to do, we'd actually get our boost. But no, apparently we can have 3 of them active in the game, so we can place these 3 planters in different fields. Of course, they're slowly going to generate over time, and then we can sort of harvest them as and when we choose. So he also goes on here to say that in terms of how we actually get these planters, he says they cost honey and materials, and he's not saying the specifics right now because he's still sorting that out. Now, of course, Onett did also mention previously that I think there's going to be the new NPC bear, which is tied into the planter lore in the game. So there's probably going to be like maybe a couple of these planters that we get from quest rewards, but some of the other ones we're actually going to have honey, and I'd imagine a bunch of crafting materials in order to actually make these. So what I've just noticed actually from the list, which is another useful piece of information I think, is that how they stack in your inventory depends on how long the planter takes to fully generate. So the first one here, which is the paper planter, it only takes an hour, or about an hour, whereas the one right at the very bottom is up to 16 hours. So how they're organized in your inventory is based off how long they take to fully develop. And, yeah, we're going to take a look at these, by the way, but this is the reason why I think there's going to be more, because on it here says that there's actually going to be some single-use planters, like a festive planter, but I'm not testing them now. A single-use planter? Single-use plastics in Bee Swarm Simulator on it. What about the environment? Are they going to be recyclable? I don't know, they're single-use. Unbelievable. So I guess we'll just start from the beginning here. So let me take a quick screenshot of these guys. You never know when we might need the old planters. There we go. Fantastic. So yeah, by the way, these images and stuff here are actually placeholder images for what the pots will look like. I thought there was a bear growing out of it. I was like, why is there a bear? It's just me. So yeah, this is the very, 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 very basic paper planter. Now here's the thing, with the planters, they're actually like developed so that not only do they just grow in a field and you put them there and that's it, you can actually influence how the planters generate, how quick they generate, you know, how beneficial they are based off a bunch of other things in Bee Swarm. So of course the field is important, the type of planter is important, the type of bees you have is now important, whether the bees like it and drink the nectar, or if they don't, if it's in a field that the bees don't like, it's actually kind of mad. This one is filling up really, really quickly. I'd imagine that the rates are boosted because it is in the test round. But let's just fill up the paper planter to number 100%, and let's see what we get, eh? Ooh, actually, I tell you what, Onett said that we can have up to 3 active at one point. So I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think these first 3 really matter where you put them. Because it doesn't say anything about it in the description. So I think these are just generic ones. So let's put a plastic planter in here. It'll put it in the mushroom. It's like a yellow one. And then let's go and put a candy planter here in this field. There we go. So it's 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours basically to fill these guys up. Okay, so we've got our bees coming and actually, you know, drinking the nectar from the actual paper planter, which is allowing us to actually fill it up quicker. Now, here's the thing. If you didn't think it was complicated enough already, wait till I hit you guys with the extra information. Because these are actually mad. They're so in-depth, and I actually really love them. You see, this is the cool thing about Onett, and this is why, like, I really love this game, and I think the development is amazing, because he's always, like, anytime there's an update, he's always trying to be innovative and adding something that's brand new and super complicated, I'd imagine, to make, but something that's actually brand new and different to the game, you know? He could just do the same thing over and over, make a new zone, make a new bee, make a new zone, make a new bee, but he hasn't done that. He's decided to do something completely different with these planters. So brand new system, really awesome. I think that's really good development. equipment. Might take a little while to work them out. Come on, let's go to 100%. Okay, so yeah, this one's 100%. Obviously, like these other ones here, they're in the fields. We're not using any bees. No bees are drinking from it. They're going way, way slower. But let's just grab this. Boom. What did we get from the planter? Hey, what did we get? Did we get anything? Wait. Did I miss it? Did I miss it? I'm so confused. Okay, so I got some motivating nectar from that one, albeit not for very long. I was expecting like some items and some honey and stuff, but I don't think anything dropped from that one. Maybe that's just a very, very basic one. That's okay. We'll play around with a few of the fancier ones a little bit later on. Right. Are you guys ready for some for some text? Here we go. So in terms of like what happens with these planters, like how do they grow? How do you make them go quicker? What actually makes them grow quicker? Have a look at this. Okay, so some things to know about planter growth rate. The growth rate speeds up a little every time a bee visits them to sip nectar. The amount of growth they gain scales with the bee's energy and usually speeds it up between 10 and 30 seconds. Bees are twice as likely to sip nectar on a field that they love and half as likely on a field that they hate. Planter growth speed can slow down by up to 75% based on the degradation of the field. You can tell the degradation based off how brown the cabbage bulb is when you plant it. Okay. Fields are restored to 0 degradation in about 20 hours. Okay, so 0 degradation would mean a pristine field, I guess. We've got to look out for brown cabbages. Are any of my cabbages brown? Not yet. Anyway. Using glitter on a field with a planter on it causes the planter to grow 25% faster, lasts after the glitter wears out. So this is actually a really useful piece of information right at the end. If you're trying to grow your planter and you want it to grow quicker, glitter the field. When that 15 minutes ends, it doesn't matter because you've glittered that field with the planter in. It will then generate 25% faster until it's finished. So yeah, really good use for glitter. Now this is cool. This is another little text thing here, but someone's going to find this out and it's going to be really cool. So he says here that the models for the pots are placeholders, so those will change when the new update comes out. But he says every planter has different bonus item chances, and some planters have special bonuses depending on the field they're growing on. These sometimes have cooldowns between a few hours and even up to a week or a month. Okay. Some hidden prizes depend on the field history of the planter. Basically, you can sometimes unlock a rare reward by first growing a planter on one field and then the same planter on a different specific field, and then that can chain up to 4 to 5 different fields. This is just a secret thing to try and make the community find hidden rewards. What? So not only is the planter this boosty thing, it gives us nectar, it interacts with the bees, it depends on which field you do, it gives you free items, it gives you honey, it gives you all types of things. The pots are now sentient beings. They have a brain, they remember which fields they were planted in, and there are secret codes built into the pots and fields whereby if you plant them in different fields in a certain order, it will then allow you to unlock a special reward. Wow. I mean, that's insane. What do you think the special reward is going to be? I don't know. I imagine like something really cool. Like, I don't know, actually. What? I told you these things are cool. So just kind of looking through the list here now, like as you can see, like all the different planters have different things. They all do different things, you know, that kind of thing. So we've done a few of the basic ones. I think those are going to be the easier ones to obtain, but then we have them in certain kind of styles. So we're just going to look here very quickly at the red clay planter and the blue clay planter. It says here for the red one, it grows in about 4 hours, but faster nearer red flowers, and grants you a red extract waxes and a 1x25 invigorating and satisfying nectar. So this actually gives you a 2 set of nectar, which is kind of interesting. I thought it was only going to be 1 nectar per pot, but you can see there that the whole thing about the red clay planter is that it's always going to grow quicker when it's next to red flowers, which means that obviously if you want to grow that quicker, you're going to go and put it in a red field. Exactly the same thing with the blue. It does exactly the same thing, but instead it gives you field dice and sunflower seeds, and it grows quicker in next to blue flowers. So if we wanted to grow that quicker, we'd go and put it in, I don't know, the pine tree or you know, in the blue flower, something like this maybe. If we plant that in there, boom. The blue clay planter is yellow. It is a placeholder though, so that's fine. But it's going to grow quicker in this field. Side note, by the way, brand new ability for the shy bee. Out of all bees, it's the shy bee, and you're going to want to have one of these in your hive because its passive is now something called Nectar Lover, and it says that this bee is twice as likely to sip nectar from planters. When it does, it gathers twice as much nectar and contributes twice as much grown to the planter. Twice as much growth to the planter. So, are you going to want to have multiple shy bees in your hive now? Is this like another little nod towards a red hive being better? Because shy bee's a red bee, it does, the boost tokens and bomb tokens. But another passive is that it will grow your planters quicker. So maybe it's just another way of kind of boosting up the red side of things and saying, okay, well, if you want to have a red hive, then this is your little bonus. You get to grow planters quicker. So just kind of looking down the list here, it kind of seems, obviously every single planter gives you different things, basically. Different rewards and different levels of boosts and stuff. So if we have a look here at the Tacky Planter, this is the one that takes 6 hours and it grows faster nearer the hives. That's so cool. It's just like this random sort of unique ability. So the closer you can have this next to a hive, so I guess you would technically maybe put it here. Oh no, I've got 3 active. I've been clowned on. Okay, I tell you what we'll do. Let's go and harvest that planter there. So obviously, you don't have to wait the entire amount of time for the planter to fill up. You can actually harvest that whenever you want. But depending on when you harvest it, depends on how much reward you get. So I've just went and grabbed the plastic one. So I guess technically if we put the tacky one down, boom, this is going to go quicker because it's closer to the hive. Which is really cool. Next up, we have the Pesticide Planter, and this grows in 8 hours, but faster in the 5 bee zone. So these are now not only scaling from the fields and in which color flowers are in the fields, they are also scaling depending on where you actually put them in the map, zone dependent. That is so cool. So Tacky Planter grows, I'd imagine, better anywhere in this zone here. We go through to the 5 bee zone, and this is where you're going to want to be putting your Pesticide Planter. And this one is going to give us bitter berries, neon berries, and the different boosts as well. We have 2 currently for 10-hour waits. So the first one is the heat-treated planter, and this grows in about 10 hours, but faster near red flowers. So I guess, is this like a big boy version of the red clay planter? It kind of feels like it. It kind of gives us better boosts. It gives us refreshing and comforting. The red clay gives us invigorating and satisfying. Oh, okay. So it does give us different boosts, but it is one that is red featured. And then the hydroponic, exactly the same, but it's a blue focus one, and then it gives us the different boosts as well. So depending on which nectars you want, depends on which planters you're going to whack down. And then moving to the last 2 here that we currently have, we have the Petal Planter, which takes 12 hours, but faster nearer white flowers. And it grants bonus jelly beans, dice, glitter, and then 2 times 5 satisfying and comforting nectar. So not only are you getting better items, but because it's longer in terms of how long it takes, the nectar rewards are also going to be higher. So I think it starts at 1.25. Currently we're on 2.5. It's going to get a lot better. And then the final one we have to look at is the Planter of Plenty, which is a 16-hour growth, and it grants you bonus items, many of them, and 3 times of all nectars. I think this is the big boy. I think this is going to be the one that people are going to want to grow. So we just whack it down just to see what it looks like. It's black! Oh, but my cabbage is brown! Uh-oh! Got a brown cabbage, lads. That is bad news. Out of curiosity, right, I'm going to move this Planter of Plenty. I actually got some red pollen, some blue pollen, some white pollen, and I also got some buffs from doing nothing. But I just wanted to try this. So it was brown when I put it in the dandelion field. And it's green up here? So in terms of field degradation, what I think that means is, does that mean if you've already previously used a planter on that field, it's going to be degraded, right? So if you put another planter in there, then it's going to be brown. Whereas if you pick a field that you haven't had a planter on for 24 hours, it's going to be green. That's so cool. These things are there's many levels to these. Wow. Do you want to know the maths behind this just for a bit of fun? Not gonna lie, I had to read this twice and I still don't quite understand it. But on it here says, oh yeah, so basically someone asked, because when the bees come and drink the nectar, it's based around the energy of that bee. So someone asked, they were like, well, how does that work with polar power? Because if it was polar power is your bee energy, you know, some people have really high polar power, some people don't. And, you know, is that going to affect the way that it works? And on it here says, every time a bee visits a planter, it grants 6 seconds, which is plus 10% of its energy. Oh, so yeah, it gives you 10% of its energy to drink from a planter. Basically, close to the square root of... Wait, whoa. Basically, close to the square root of 10% of its energy is converted to seconds granted to the planter. But those seconds are then modified by the degradation of the field, increased if the planter has been glittered, etc. So it's not an exact number. And I'm also actively adjusting the numbers. With them out, I can see exactly how fast their growth, how much of each loot they're going to give out, and in how much time. Right, okay, so yeah, it gives you 10% of the bee's energy, you work out the bee's energy, you work out the degradation of the field, and you work out the planter, and then works out all of the bonuses. Cool. So yeah, just one more bit of information here to finish off the episode, but just to kind of try and summarize what's going on here, essentially the planters are way more complicated than I was thinking, but they're so cool. So you have the different planters. Each planter, depending on where you put it, has bonuses if it likes the field or if it doesn't. And then also a secondary ability is if the bees like that or they don't, they go to drink it, it'll either fill up quicker or it won't quite fill up as much. When you place a planter in a field, you slowly degrade that field, so if you have another planter in that field, it's going to turn brown instead of green, and then there's a 24-hour cooldown to those fields to go back to 0, which means a pristine field. If you plant your planter in a pristine field, it's going to fill up quicker. If you plant it in a degraded field, it's going to fill up slower. So you're going to have to move your planters around. You can only have 3 of them at each given time, and then you're going to have an area to store your planters. There's already like 10 planters or whatever. They're going to be bought by honey and made with crafting items, and there might be a new quest bear, which is going to be based all around the planters. And then you've got the boost, 5 of which, depending on which field you plant those planters in, depending on what the planters give you, and then you can store that nectar in the 30 bee zone in your nectar jar, save it up, and then use it for boosts. This is so mad. So, yeah, the final thing that I've got to say about this one, I think this is actually kind of interesting. I don't know what I think about this. On it here says that about the Riley and Bucko Elite HQ areas, you will in fact need 250 quests to purchase the endgame collectors, but not 250 to enter the room. I plan to have other things in the room that unlock at certain quest milestones. But you know what? I was like, why? Because if you think about like all the different zones on the map, you've got the HQs, you've got the sprinkler shop, you've got all of the gated areas. They're all blocked off to a certain level. So like, why would you want to go into one of the elite HQs if you couldn't buy any of it to begin with? Is it to maybe look at what requirements you need? But at the same time, like, you wouldn't be able to buy any of it anyway because you don't have 250 quests. So, I don't know, like, I quite like the idea of having it locked away. Even if it's just like a transparent wall, you know, like a red sort of thingy here, so you can't actually go in. I think it makes it a bit more exciting, and I also think it makes it a little bit more rewarding. When you actually finally get that 250, you can then be like, yes, I'm going to go into it, bang, and it's just sort of a slightly more enjoyable experience to unlock it. But if you can go in it straight from the beginning, I don't think it's going to be quite as rewarding to actually like physically unlock the door. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one, but either way, it's going to be access to the brand new collectors, of course, the Dark Scythe, Tide Popper, all that kind of thing. And yeah, whew. So we tried to keep it as simple as possible. Now, obviously, looking at all the numbers and the multipliers, I'm sure that they're going to get way more sort of developed, I guess. Like, you know, there's going to be little tips and tricks to, you know, how best to fill them up, which fields best to put them in, and, you know, what works well with what and stuff. But time can work that out. Like right now, let's just keep it nice and simple as we can. Let's talk about the pots. Let's talk about what they do. And yeah, let's see what happens next. So, thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. But until then, thanks. And see you.